Hello everyone, welcome to my channel ASP.NET Core, and today I'm going to teach you expenses management system, and here we have a simple prototype. So you can see in the expenses management system, here we have a two button control, that is add expenses. In the form of the model pop-up, just I want to add expenses like item name, categories, amount, expenses state, like that. And if you want to add expenses daily, then you can just create a expenses report also on the basis of the monthly report, a daily report, etc. So here we have also a search filter options and your table looking like that just after when we add expenses. So your daily expenses like that milk, oil, travel, and like shoppings, like travel, like electricities and any others. And if you want to pay monthly on the basis and you want to get the report, then you can just imagine your expenses. So after that, you have to generate your expenses reports on the monthly basis and the weekly reports. So in which month you have to just getting money spent and how much money actually going on the mentioned categories. So here we have that list. Okay, so just I'm going to design the expense management system in ASP.NET Core, and let's go. First of all, just go for the ASP.NET Core Web Application Model View Controller in Visual Studio, and any other Visual Studio versions you have to choose. The first one is the ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller, a project template for creating ASP.NET Core. And here I'm going to choose a C# as a language. And just I'm going to use the project name. And what is the project name? That is expenses. Expenses.web, that is the project name. And here I'm going to solution name, that is the solution name is expenses, and just click on it. Okay, so here I'm going to use .NET Framework 7.0 and just click on it. Great. Now after that, just I'm going to add a new layer, that is the core layer, or you can say just add a new model layer. So just go to the solution and just add a new project. And here we have the project, that is the class library project, and the expenses dot models .NET Framework 7.0, and choose this. And after that, you will see a code, that is the creating project, and you will see a simple demonstration of expenses. And here we have a class, that is the class 1, that is a default class. Just I want to delete this class first, and after that just add a expenses model. Now after that, you have to add a new model class like that, add a new empty file, X expense expense model.cs. So here we have the list is expense model.cs, and here we have some properties of expense model. Now after that, we will add some model properties like ID, title, money spent, expenses state, date type.now, and the categories. Okay, so just I want to add it in the expenses model. Now after that, we will add a new project, that is DB context layer. So data access layer, just you can say. So add a new project and the class library project, and here I am going to add X. Expenses dot data access layer. Just create it. Okay, so now after that, we will add a new layer, that is application DB layer. So here we have a three-tier architecture. So just add a new empty file, application dbcontext.cs, and after that, that class is must inherited with that dbcontext class. And you know that a dbcontext class is actually existing in that package. Now after that, we will add a new constructor, and you know that application dbcontext class is actually inherited with this line of code. So here we have a application db context options, and application db context. Now you know that expenses is actually, here we have a expenses model. Now expense model is like that. So just resolve the reference error, and here we have a expenses, and the property name is expenses table. Okay, so now after that we will add a connection string in the app settings file, and here we have the connection string, and now here we have a connection string. Now in the connection string you will do like that, expenses per db. Okay, and this is last one. Now save this, and after this you have to add in the expenses.web. Here we have a manage NuGet package for your SQL Server. Just I'm going to add browse SQL Server, and the latest stable of the SQL Server is 7.0.5, and the choose Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.SQL Server. Okay, so now after that go into the program.cs file, and here we have builder dot services dot add db context, and inside it you can take application db context, and you know that application db context is actually existing in data access layer. So resolve issues, and after that you have to use options dot use SQL Server, and now after that builder dot configuration dot get connection string, and the name of the connection string is default connection. You know that. So here we have a connection string name, that is default connection. Okay, so everything is fine. Now after that, just go for the services layer. So here we have a model and data access layer. So just I'm going to design a data access layer. Here we have a application DB context. So just I'm going to add some repositories, and here we have a expenses repository. So I empty file I expenses repository .cs, IExpenses repository, and just I'm going to add some methods inside it here. Okay, so here we have, just I'm going to add these methods like that: I enumerable of expense model, get all expenses, and the searching is also, we have the search string, and with the void add, update, and delete, and also just get the expense model by get expense by ID. So here we have expense ID is that type of ID. Now expense repository, expenses repository is also used. So repository, so just right click on it and add a new empty file, and here we have expense repositories.cs file. Now that class is actually inherited with the IExpense repositories, and you know that that is unimplemented, so just click on dot control dot and implement all interfaces. Okay, so everything is clear. Now here I'm going to use private read only, and here I'm going to add application db context underscore context. Okay, and now after that initialize it in the constructor, generate constructor, and here we have a expenses repository. Now just I'm going to add some expenses in the try catch, so just use try and catch, and you know that the catch is exceptions throw. So just I'm going to add exceptions, so you can say that underscore context dot expenses table dot add expenses, and after that context dot save changes. Now in the delete action method, just I want to get all expansions first of all and get by ID expansions. So just you can say where expansions equals to underscore context dot uh, expansions table dot to list and return expansion model. Okay, so here we have expansions, and just I'm going to use try and catch. Okay, now here we have expansions get by ID, so where expense underscore context table dot first dot default, or you can say that find, you can use dot find by their ID and return expense. Okay, now in the search method, just I'm going to get the list of the expenses first of all. So you can use get all expenses. So where search expenses is, so here we have get all expenses, and just I'm going to use where keywords, and here we have a list. So just I'm going to add x dot title dot contains dot searching string dot list. Just I want to get it. Here we have a expense model, so return, you can say return expenses, search expenses. And now the last one is the update, so just I want to also use try and catch exceptions, so use it here. Now the next one is the update expansions. So update expansions is like that, just I want to use. So now after that we will go for try and catch, and you know that in the update method, just I want to return, or you can say that underscore context dot entry of expense like that. Expense is not visible. Entry of expense dot. So entry is like that. It's a method also. So just, you know, so here we have expense dot state equals to entity state, entity state dot modified. Oops. So okay, now just after that, we have to add a new controller related to expenses controller. So add a new controller. Now here we have these are the controller, and just I'm going to add controller. So that controller name is expenses. Oops. And just I want to add the empty controller right now, and expenses controller, and you know that that controller is actually inherited with the expenses controller. Now just go for the program.cs file and just have to add your services. Now, oops, builder dot services dot add scope, and in the scope just you want to add I expense repository and expense repository like that. Okay, now after that you can use these expenses controller right here, IExpense repository underscore expenses expense. That's fine. And here just I'm going to add private read only. Now make it add a constructor. Okay, so here we have a expenses repository. Now you know that public IAction result. Here we have a index method. Just I'm going to add a string of type searching. Okay, so here we have a searching method. Just I'm going to add it here, and you know that searching is where we when we applied. So first of all, add a list of you can say expenses model uh, okay, and here we have a list, a new list of expenses model, and after that, string is null or empty. Searching string, then list expenses dot get all expenses. Else, what is this? Get all expenses is right there. Expense dot all expenses. But what? Expense model to generate list of type dot to list. Okay, so just get it here. Okay, and now get expenses by search. It's not actually, it's a search, you know. So here we have the list of the extensions, and just now I'm going to add lists. Okay, so everything is clear. Now after that, just I'm going to add a view. So add view for the index, and here we have a razor view. So in the razor view, just here we have a index empty. Just I'm going to add. Wait for some times. It's doing scaffolding. Okay, so everything is clear. So okay, so here we have a package manager console. In the package manager console, you have to add your migration command. So during the migration, you have to check already errors in your project. So just add migration, expense migration, and actually expense migration, oops, it's a cmdlt. I mean to say that the tools package is not installed in your startup project. And you know that what is the startup project? Startup project is actually the web project, and you know, uh, just I'm going to set the startup project as a web, and that after that you will go for the next. Okay, so after that you will resolve the model builder errors also related to your relational package as well as the SQL Server package. So there is a lots of things to add in your project, like related packages you have to must to install in your package. Okay, so wait for some times. I'm just going to resolve these types of error messages like that. Add migration, expense migrations, build started, clear. Now after that you will resolve the issues. Okay, so here I'm going to add it here, and you will see that your just after remove the migrations, again you can check that that is the build error, because during if you have to solve your problems like migration problems, then you can resolve the issues. So public partial class expense migrations, migration errors. So you can use control dot key to resolve the errors. Okay, so here we have just I'm going to add all these things, and just again we have to apply update database command just after removing the types of things. But again we got database build error, and you know that the build error is actually occurs lots of problems you have to in your. Okay, so just already we have SQL Server is not installed in your repository package, so you have to add SQL Server in your repository package also. Okay, so after that you have to add something like that, build like that. Okay, so after that you have to add migration also. Now migration is completed. After migration you can see that your layout, you have to change your layout file also. Now just go for the program.cs and also change your the first and default path. The controller is expenses and the next one is the index section method. Okay, and just I'm going to add some other data in your expenses controller, like get data. Okay, on basis of the id. If the id is greater than 0, then you can say that just go for the create form in the model pop-up. And if your id is greater than 0, that I mean to say that update form will be getting. So just get the data model data. Okay, so here just I'm going to add a two partial form, and you know that a partial form is why we created here, because partial form is looking like that. It's a model pop-up for use for the model pop-up actually. So just I'm going to add a new file like CSHTML file, like uh, add edit form, and the next one is the expenses report form. So that project is actually paid project. So if you want to get that full project, uh, and you want to get the whole functionality of your project, just you buy it, just only make the member of your channel, make the member of my channel, then you will get the code. Okay, if you want to get the code of your project that is currently I'm doing, you will make the member of this channel. Okay, so here we have expense data, and in which you can just pass http get, so just integer id and get expenses data. So just you can say that expense model equals to new expense model, and if model dot you can say that a model dot id, sorry, if it is id, just check it is the id only. If it is id is greater than 0, just you can say that model is going for the updates. So model is what, just get the model actually, I mean to say, and underscore expense dot get expense by id, So here we have an ID. So there is a no relation between this ID. If it is ID is 0, suppose if your ID is 0, now you can say that return view. So here you can say return, that is partial view, and the name of the partial view is underscore, that is add edit form, add edit form. Okay, and in which you can just pass the model. Okay, so in the every case you have to get data. So in the edit you just want to get the data, so get the expense data actually. So that is form. If it is ID 0, just go for the model is creating, and just I'm going to add the same thing with the HTTP post. So expense data. So here we have a expense data, but here we have a expense model. Just I'm getting it right now. Okay, and here I'm going to add HTTP post. So here we have a model, you can see. So if you can, again you have to check ID is 0. So just inside it, model dot ID is greater than 0. I mean to say that means you have to update your expenses. So dot update with the expenses. So just I'm going to add model, and if you have you can say, so actually wait for some time, expense is there, expense dot update, and what update dot, there we have an update model, but it's not it's actually a return type. So there we have. So now just go for else. If ID is not greater than 0, then you will just go for the add. Okay, so add it here. Okay, and for the model, and just after that you have to return the index, return view, and go for the index. Okay, so here we have added edit form. Now the best thing is there. So here we have remaining methods like delete, expense report, monthly expenses, and weekly expenses. Okay, just now I'm going to start it now. So here you can see that that is the reports, and just create a new expenses like that. Just I'm going to add some food like pizza, and the category is food, and the spent is actually $4. So just save this thing, and you have to say that that is the food is added right now. And just I want to search uh, picture. So there we have a string like that, and just I want to expense report like that, monthly reports. So here we have that data will be showing on. So weekly report is going on, and the monthly report is going on. So here we have the data. So thank you guys for watching this video, and keep watching all other videos. But if you want to buy this project, and if you want to get buy the code of this project, just you can just click on the join button. And if you want to get the code, just click on the join button and you will get the code. Okay, so just click on the join button and you will get the code of this project. Thank you guys for watching this video, and keep watching all other videos.